Hello everybody! Welcome to ZeldaSpeedRuns, broadcasting the Link to the Past Randomizer Crosskeys Tournament 2021. We got Swiss round 5 for you today. It's Tso15 versus GFE. Commentating for us we have Jesse and P-Train, and tracking is Lady Laura Linda and Samimus. Say hello everybody.
Hello everybody.
Hello everybody. How are you doing today, Jesse?
I'm doing great. How are you doing tonight, P-Train?
I'm fantastic. Looking forward to commentating this. It's been a long time since I've done commentary, period. Much less the Crosskeys match, so I'm gonna do my best.
And there is quite a bit on the line here. If you're not unfamiliar with the tournament, so round 5 of the qualifiers, or sorry, the Swiss, both of our competitors tonight are 3-1. If you lose 2 games, then you're going to have to play a play-in to make it to the brackets. You lose a 3rd game, and you are out of this tournament, technically.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how this affects GFE in particular. So Tso won his first 2 matches, lost in the 3rd round to Fear Agent, but then won his last match against Death King. GFE is coming right off of a loss to Dr. Marty. So I don't know if that's gonna get into his head at all, but I'd be interesting to see if that affects GFE's route.
Yeah, it's tough. You know, there's 16 runners are going to make the brackets of this tourney, and while, you know, the field is just so deep across the board that we're already seeing runners hit those 3rd losses and being kind of surprised by how quickly people are eliminated in a sense.
Yeah, looks like we're off. We have differing starts. Tso with the hook shot immediately in Link's house. Might be a second before GFE gets that. I don't know if it'll bother him or not, but GFE with the Sank start, just getting a heart piece in Sank.
Yeah, and finding out that we have our Aga Tower at the blacksmith and just deciding to save and quit from there over to Link's house. So really not getting a huge amount of checks besides.
Yeah, that's an interesting start to me, because usually if you start at the Sank and you have stuff to do, you usually do the stuff. I don't really see a whole lot of starting at the Sank and then immediately saving and quitting.
I think it kind of speaks to the idea that he can just do a ton of checks right out of this, and you know, he knows that he'll have other equipment to get to see, you know, the rest of Kakariko. It's at least a convenient CAC location.
Yeah, it's really nice to have a bomb tree pool as well as the well at Hyrule Castle. We'll see if this is useful though. So far, not so much. Okay, so it's a nice bow. Quake is not immediately useful, but possibly in the future.
Yeah, meanwhile, GFE found the Smith up at Potion Shop, and I'm guessing he's about to set up for a Houlihan to give himself some early rupees.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this route. With it being Key Sanity, you have everything in the pool. It can be very difficult to come across resources like bombs, arrows, rupees. So very nice just to get those rupees early. And it looks like we have Ganon at the Hylia Ferry. So that's kind of nice to get that out of the way and know where it is. You know it's not on the pyramid. You know it's not in the lumberjack. But also really annoying because ideally you would want items there.
Yeah, they'll definitely be hoping for, you know, that GT climb always is a feels bad in location kind of. Yeah, so they'll definitely be on the lookout to see what that last drop down will be at the pyramid.
GFE's making a spicy play here, going to the eastern area. I'm assuming he's going to follow this through to the eastern area. Generally, you want to do this with bombs, though. It's not a bad play to do this early. Just if you don't find bombs and you find something like Hype Cave, that's, you know, a very bad feeling.
Well, and GFE does get paid out here, finding the front entrance of TR, which, you know, most people are aware of that full magic, but instead we also see GFE farming a couple of bombs, as we also find Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, a lot of dungeons early. Tso found Deepstown in Grassman's house, so it'll be interesting to see how important these dungeons are earlier if we start finding keys to them. Pod in particular, because Pod can be really annoying the way it can breadcrumb you through the dungeon as you find one key, take a trip back, then you find another key somewhere else in the overworld.
Yeah, and the fact that Tso has that bow already also means he'll have more checks available on the right side. Unless, is this just a bomb grind? Yeah, it's just a bomb grind from GFE.
I prefer vanilla audio, so I'm listening to Tso's audio, and I just want everyone to know that he has double heartbeeps.
It's a choice, you know. Some runners just enjoy it. They like the troll.
C-shaped hut with more bombs for GFE, so he's doing quite well on this bomb count. Not much else in Kakariko so far for Tso. So, early game Crosskeys. What do you generally, like, what's your game plan when you start off a Crosskeys seed?
So I think the general rule is, you know, check the entrances. If it's a connector, you kind of just store it in the back of your mind for a bit. If it's a dungeon, maybe we dip in for a little. And then if I'm towards the end, then I start checking connectors. Now, Tso completely going against what I just said, finding Spiral Cave and saying, let's go for it. And let's see what we get.
I don't think this is a terrible play. Yeah, of course you're on 3 hearts, but you have the hook shot. But with the Sanctuary being where it is, this isn't a huge investment if he ends up going back. And then the knowledge of where this connector goes could be quite valuable.
Exactly. Given that we have a decent Sanctuary in this seed, I completely agree with this. Just happens to lead us to the desert right entrance.
I don't hate this early game because otherwise these entrances, like, you put off for a very long time if you don't get like an early flute or an early glove. So
Yeah, are we going to get
I don't mind being in this area.
I don't think we're going to get a scouting of the desert ledge. A little surprised that we're not seeing that, but not a bad play either.
Yeah, especially in Crosskeys, I really favor knowledge. Like, I like knowing as much as I can. I think GFE ended with the Mire Shed at the Flute Spot 5 cave, but I did not see what was in it.
I didn't notice anything too beneficial yet. But GFE is making his way up to the Hyrule Castle. Knowing that where Ganon is, he is just going for the drop, says there's a high chance that this is actually a valuable drop to me, as we do find Swamp Palace on Tso's side at the front of the tavern.
Bombable Hut is just a boring house. GFE getting his Quake and Bow. Be happy to see that early. Might be kicking himself because maybe, depending on who you ask, he should have had that before going to pod, but not too big of an issue. We found both fairies, Waterfall and the Pyramid Fairy.
We've got our Thief drop down now. And just more bombs, so not a whole lot there.
Yeah, I'm actually not a huge fan of scouting that. Especially at the Kakariko Well, if I walk in and I see it's the hideout, I almost always just go ahead and get the item, because if it's an item you need, you basically waste twice the time scouting it.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the idea of why Tso was scouting, just because he hasn't found Ganon yet. Taking a very different route to start here, so not finding out where Ganon was, so definitely scout it. But once you find out that it is a safe drop down, I would definitely have encouraged just dropping.
GFE showing us a heart container on race game, so we hopefully won't need that if we're in a position where that's important. It's been a really rough season. GFE finding Hyrule Castle West.
Yeah, GFE had checked the rest of the entrances in that area, had seen Hyrule Castle, and was just waiting for that opportunity. As we are in Paradox Cave, and wow, Paradox Cave paying out huge with a sword and a hammer.
That's both really nice to have early in Crosskeys, and the powder, so man. Paradox Cave just loaded.
Now, GFE is continuing through the Hyrule Castle checks here in the escape sequence. Technically not in logic at this point, but luckily will work out pretty nicely. We do know that the hammer is available for those back of escape checks.
Yeah, especially in Crosskeys, I'm generally a fan of, if you can do it, go ahead and do it. People will disagree with me on this. I don't know that I really care too much about the logic, unless I'm like one item from go mode. If I can do it, I just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, I've definitely seen seeds with, like, if we found out the back of escape was at, I don't know, Ganon or the pyramid drop down, definitely some reason to maybe consider stealing the key.
Yeah, I actually lost my last race to that, I believe. No, not my last. I faced Relk and Schultzer. I lost to Schultzer. He did front of escape and found hookshot. I did back of escape and found mitts. And absolutely nothing was behind the mitts.
Yeah, mitts definitely the double-edged sword item of Crosskeys. But we did get a fire rod in the back of the escape, so that hammer leading to a lot already. Just from an offense perspective, we really are well situated.
We get a little bit of dark ag action from Tso here. Shouldn't be that hard with the sword though. This maze is very manageable.
Yeah, sword and fire rod definitely raises your confidence. And we get a big key to Swamp Palace there in our dark maze.
Yeah, again, not something same as Quake, not something with immediate value, but could prove to be useful later. You definitely want it before going to Swamp. That's for sure. I imagine Tso will go clean up the rest of Kakariko here. GFE pulling a big 20 out of the Dark Maze.
As we find Hookshot at our one of our snitch houses, that right side one.
Hookshot, I believe, was in Link's house.
Yeah, so this has been a logic. This is really early logical access to Hookshot Cave.
I'm not quite sure what GFE's doing. Is he trying to get? Maybe he wants to check connectors.
Yeah, I think that's what we're getting here, as we do find that Master Sword. So already 2 swords for Tso.
And looks like he is going to check the connector. Hyrule Castle Main putting us in the Mire area.
And the other end of Hookshot putting us on top of Dark Death Mountain. How kindly vanilla.
He scouted the medallion. I did not see what the medallion was.
I think that was Ether. And it looks like Chad is confirming that as well, so.
Cool.
We do have an item in the right side of that Dark Death Mountain drop.
The GFE is probably going to do the exact same thing Tso just did. It's kind of the advantage or disadvantage about having Sanctuary in Kakariko is that with all these connectors, your thought is like, oh, well, I'm so close, I'll just check this connector. But if you get spit out of too many of them and you need a glove or a pearl to get back, it actually does take a lot of time to do all this walking.
Yeah, a lot of saving and quitting early on this one. GFE getting that first sword out of, or his first sword out of Hookshot Cave.
Useless fairy in the Lost Woods. You don't want to see that.
Yeah, unfortunately, that does mean that the pyramid dropdown will have something of value, whether that is our bat or uncle.
That and the castle tower.
Yeah.
Or lumberjack, I should say. At a dark room, I don't know how much poking around Tso did. I don't know if he confirmed what dark room that was. I had his audio pulled up. I didn't hear bats, so that gives me some suggestions, but I don't know. Oh, this is a very nice uncle spot.
Yeah, uncle is the ideal dropdown to find at the lumberjack. There's the one that is actually not locked down by being a drop.
I'm finding a whole lot here. The weird thing about finding so many, like one of my favorite things about Crosskeys is building the map, right, and seeing what connects to what. But when you have both Hyrule Castle and Paradox Cave, and you're finding, you know, other stuff, even TR Main, if you find a Cane of Samaria, the map can open up in a very scary way, where it's just, you know, you're trying to find the needle in the haystack, as it were, and it can be very intimidating.
Yeah, waiting to see Desert to kind of complete that trifecta of bad early connectors. Those are definitely those dungeons or connectors that you're just like, I have to go check them, but you don't like to do so early. We do find lumberjack at the sanctuary or the back of escape drop. Nothing there though.
That means the magic bat is on our pyramid. And we have powder.
Yeah, we have very early powder, and we have a GT big key as well. And we have fire.
Oh, baby.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot of stuff that says, hey, you want to climb GT? You might need to do it.
Yeah, I'm worried for GFE, because he'll do it. Like, he's not scared. I don't know a whole lot about Tso's routing, but I know GFE. He's not scared. He's not scared to do some of those plays.
Yeah, and really, like, one of the things you kind of forget about when you play Crosskeys, or if you're new to Crosskeys, just how little it takes to do certain things. To get the mini helmet chests in GT, you really just need a bow and fire. Oh, and the big key, but that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. GFE's being a little bit more conservative with his connectors. I saw him nope out of Spiral Cave. Not sure if he'll do the same thing with Paradox, but
yeah, I would doubt it on the Paradox play. Hard to pass up 7 items.
So at this point, I think I wouldn't be surprised to see Tso go to maybe the eastern. Oh, well, I guess we haven't seen South Shore yet. But I'm trying to think like what the next play is. I feel like GFE's going to be covering Tso's footsteps, while Tso's covering GFE's footsteps.
Yeah, we did miss one exit out of Hyrule Castle on the east side. But we've really seen a lot of the same stuff. I'll be curious to see when Tso finds Pod, you know, getting to see that right side play.
Did Tso check all of the Paradox Cave entrances?
And I don't think we got all those either.
We saw he entered in the top or bottom, wherever you want to call it. He checked the push block, but I don't think he scouted the Moldorm entrance. I always get confused on which one's the top.
Yeah, as long as you're consistent with yourself, that's all that matters.
So it's looking like South Shore might be the play, unless one of those connectors takes you to, I don't know, really either side of Death Mountain.
Yeah, and unfortunately, South Shore, you know, one of those, it's a location area that you feel like, oh, it's got density, but you wait for that glove. It's just so tempting to hope that you have a glove first.
True, but at the same time, I kind of like it as an anti-meta play, because I feel like that is the... I feel like you're absolutely right in that. But because I feel like a lot of people think that, sometimes I'll actually prefer it to maybe other bad decisions.
And really, you know, one of the things you have to realize is there's not a lot of truly bad decisions early in Crosskeys. One of the best things you can kind of hear from somebody is, as long as you're making checks, it's good.
Yeah, we actually got into a conversation in the Discord about, like, quote-unquote objectively bad plays. Like, unless you're, like, one item from go mode clearing pendants instead of crystals, it's very difficult to... Ooh.
Oh no, that's a rough death for Tso. I don't think there was anything there, but that's just going to weigh on the mind for a bit.
Oh, is he going back? Ooh, this hurts. And not that either runner has a, you know, definitive advantage, but I will say that I have preferred Tso's routing to GFE's routing in the early game, with the way he did Castle, and he's going to pod with the bow, things like that. But man, that death that kind of equalizes things.
Yeah, and it's not so much that one route's been good or bad, it's just this is Crosskeys in a sense, you know. Put together 10 runners and you'll see 10 very different routes most likely. There's not a guarantee ever of people doing the same things.
Oh, GFE finding the Paradox Moldorm connector, taking him to East Death Mountain. And then immediately finding Spec Rock.
And that's definitely a drop down that can have value. And this time we do find a big key here inside of the Spec Rock. And we get the big key to Pod. Wow, Pod is already starting to have some stuff.
Yeah, this makes it a little bit more of a value to Tso not even playing with the ball and chain this time. That death's gonna feel a lot worse than it is in all practicality. When you die with that kind of kit, you know it was completely avoidable, that hurts.
Yeah, and that was the cape, so I was mistaken on thinking it was nothing. And the cape does at least have some value in this mode.
Yeah, he'll be glad that he went back for sure. At least he didn't go back and get like 20 rupees.
We found our big bomb.
Ice and Swamp. Those are both really annoying dungeons because of the keys that can lock items but may not be required. Luckily, we do have the big key to Swamp already, at least on the map. Of course, GFE hadn't picked it up yet. But you still have that Swamp Palace Small, which can be almost impossible to find sometimes. And then Ice, you have that elusive big key sometimes.
Yeah, big key to Ice is definitely one of those big keys. You're like, I don't need any smalls for this dungeon, but I'd rather have the big key when I go in. I hate leaving that behind. We do find library at the Old Man Cave, and it is just a heart container inside.
Tso also taking a Death Warp, probably going to check these connectors.
And we also find Bumper Cave at the top of Death Mountain.
Which end was it? Was it the hookshot end or no?
No, it was the bottom of Bumper.
Gotcha.
Not that it matters, both runners having hookshot and cape, so you can go both directions easily. It's a nice little trick for Bumper Cave. If you ever find the top of Bumper and have the hookshot, it actually can be logically required to use the hookshot to go through the bumper.
GFE finding Ice Rod Cave, still looking for the Old Man Cave though, has not found that yet. There's a guaranteed dark Yeah, I guess dark entrance somewhere on this side of the mountain. Could be Hera. He may not have access to it, but looks like Tso's going back into Hyrule Castle. We might actually get the Hyrule Castle East entrance, which GFE did not check. Which is kind of interesting because he didn't do. Oh wow, we got boots on Spec Rock.
And there's an interesting find inside of Spectacle Rock, our upgrade fairy.
And now Tso is right there with GFE thanks to Hyrule Castle East. So they're both going to get that boots knowledge. Unfortunately, we'll not be able to get them yet, but knowing where they are is definitely nice. But the old man is actually at Hera, so we'll have to hold off on that one. Not only is it an item, but it's also a spawn point, and it's a connector. So it can be very useful in terms of getting around. So it's unfortunate they're not going to be able to do that.
Now, I am a bit surprised by Tso's routing here, having just found the mountain and already deciding to go through Bumper.
Yeah, I don't know about this. I don't know how much they scouted at the mountain.
But this does put us over in West Dark World at the Dark Lumberjack house. So a lot of information. We are bunny walking now. GFE skipping checking out the top of Bumper Ledge.
Yeah, again, I always favor knowledge.
Yeah, it's not even that, there's something necessarily there. It's just, it's the ability to know if you want to find that connector.
I love the thought process here by both of them. Not sure if they want to do Meyer or not. Tso's going for it. I mean, it's an option, but you're going to get 4 hearts here, and then Spike Chest is going to take 3 of them? This is a bold move. He better hope he gets some heart drops. Either that or using the cape. Oh, full magic, he's good.
Yeah, meanwhile, GFE finding the back of Skull Woods down at the Curiosity Shop. So no small key, so GFE cannot go kill the moth, but is going to do that bunny revival to check out our under the bridge chest.
Yeah, I try to avoid bunny walking as much as possible, as much as I reasonably can in Crosskeys. But anytime I get spit off in the North Dark World, I actually like what both of these runners are doing. The Dark Lumberjack, Curiosity Shop, Dark Sink, they're all awkward checks. Go ahead and check those as a bunny. What's the worst that can happen? But I don't know. Finding Skull Woods without a small key, finding Meyer, they're actually gonna have to leave a lot of stuff unless they Death Warp. Tso finding the lamp in Meyer, so that's super helpful.
Yeah, that's a lot of logical information for sure. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of extends out. Now, GFE is going to be giving us those Agate Tower checks as well, or that Agate Tower check, really, not having the small key. But is done there, so next I'm assuming we're going to get that back of Escape.
Yeah, GFE is just unfortunately slightly out of order with his dungeon dives. Not going to punish him too bad, but I don't know. That Swamp Palace big key. Hopefully he gets that before he ends up in Swamp.
Yeah, and getting that Castle Tower small key now out of the back of Escape. Will he go back for the Agate Tower check?
I'm curious how much he's kicking himself for not having... well, I'm not saying kicking himself. I wonder if having the Fire Rod would have influenced the decision to go to Meyer.
Yeah, and now that we know that lamp is locked behind the Fire Rod, it does kind of, will feel a little bit better if and when he makes that Meyer play. Now, Tso is going to have to be careful here with that. Oh, does have the cape, so that makes it a little bit easier. And there we go, half magic on the bridge. So nice little pieces of security here.
Yeah, I imagine Tso's feeling very good about this this dip. GFE is finally going to clean up Spiral Caves. This will put him at Desert East. Probably check at least a couple entrances. He might actually go all the way to at least the mini Moldorm Cave entrance, I would imagine. He doesn't really have anything to save and quit for.
Yeah, we might get to see the desert ledge.
And hopefully GFE makes this out alive. This would be a very nasty death.
Yeah, it does make it over to that desert right. Does have to be careful though, because the sand demons are really dangerous. And we do have a small key on desert ledge.
It's a really sketchy thing to see out in the open, because you never know if you're going to need that or not.
Yeah, we're missing a plenty of keys right now for checks, so no idea if we're going to care.
That's one of my least favorite like in-game discussions to have with myself, where you're looking for an item from Go Mode, and you can access a key that you saw at like the beginning of the match, and you're like, okay, do I actually need any more small keys? I've done the Hera basement, I've done the Thieves Town basement. And you're like, no, I don't need any more keys, and you remember something silly like, I don't know, the lava chest in Turtle Rock or something.
Which, at least in Crosskeys, is one of the less offensive chests to get. In Key Sanity, we all hate that location, but in Crosskeys, it is a little better.
Tso finding the bumper cave connector. Can't do much with it because they don't have the mirror, but it's still nice to find.
Yeah, that's definitely purely an info check. And are we getting a dip into Skull Woods here? Is that the goal?
Looks like it. GFE finding the bonk rocks, but not quite useful. And he is going to go all the way to South Shore. I agree with this play. He doesn't really have much left. I'm not sure if he's done the bombable cave south of Link's house. Oh, so he's in a really bad position right now.
Yeah, this is really dangerous. One hit KO from those enemies. But it does reach it, yeah. And there's one of our Skull Woods. There's the back of the middle.
Oh, GFE finding, GFE, you don't have a glove, what are you doing? Oh, this is gonna be funny. We're talking about this in the post game.
Yep. GFE's gonna reach this, and he's gonna immediately go, please don't ask me about my clowning there.
Okay, here's the cave south of Link's house. It's gonna feel very weird if this has something useful at the 32-minute mark, like the front of desert. This is what you wanted earlier, wasn't it?
Yeah, the trifecta is complete. The question is, what are we gonna find? Because honestly, connector-wise, if it is bunny walking that's required, we really have the ability to get around a lot of Dark World with bunny walking.
The only thing I could think of that would be useful is something that's on the top of Death Mountain, like maybe a Hera or Paradox Cave entrance. But even that's only marginal. Oh, okay. So we know where the boots are, and now we know that the boots lead to gloves. This is interesting. And we know Moon Pearl can't be behind the lamp.
Yeah, so even if we find our way to the top of Death Mountain, wherever that... Ooh, there's that Dark Death Mountain bridge.
That still leaves Desert Palace East. I'm curious to see what GFE's going for. He doesn't have a whole lot left to him. Also, I think Tso still has stuff on the mountain, don't they?
I think so. Like,
I feel
can't
like
imagine...
the time they were on the mountain, there's no way they scouted like every entrance.
Well, and what I know he has to have access to is all of East Death Mountain. Because while we got there through one of our Paradox entrances on GFE's side, Tso got there through Hyrule Castle. So they came from very opposite ends.
Yeah, Tso following the Bumper Cave was a little surprised. Although that's something we've noticed, or at least GFE seems to be a little bit more conservative in what connectors he takes and when he takes them. Tso is really fond of those connectors when he finds them. Desert West putting us at the dam. I'm sorry, that was Desert East. Desert West was the Turtle Rock Bridge.
And it looks like Tso's going to head right back. Nope, not heading right back for Desert. Going to check out Swamp or the dam.
Yeah, probably the South Shore play at this time. Although knowing the glove on the torch and knowing where the boots are, he might put it off. We know there's nothing on South Shore, so that would be to his benefit. But he doesn't know that. So right now I'm trying to think of a solution that's not bunny walking. We don't have any unknown connectors at this point.
I think the game is telling us to go to Pod, to be honest.
Oh, I completely forgot about that. You're right.
Just looking at the entrances, like I think you're right in that we have checked just about every entrance, and the one that's still shouting out is right side of Pod.
Yeah, which Tso hasn't even found because they have not made the Eastern play yet. So GFE, I'm kind of shocked. GFE might be waiting for keys though, and I can kind of understand that with Pod. Like for me, the perfect Pod dip is 2 small keys and a big key.
Give me 3, and I'll be a little bit better. I like opening the front door, to be honest.
Oh yeah, no, I open the front door and I just leave what is it, Harmless Hellway in the big key chest, and then do everything else with the hammer up.
Exactly. 4, and I'll usually take the Hellway. We are getting a hobo check though, and that is a mushroom.
That's interesting. GFE probably would have done that if not for his Spike Cave shenanigans. GFE finally making the Pod play. I like what Tso's doing here, though. Looks like he is going to check this cave and splash delete, probably to do the Zora area.
Finds the mushroom and immediately finds Potion Shop.
So that is super flipper locked. Oh, messing up the splash delete. Of all the glitches that we're able to do, I can't stand splash delete. I just like, I'm almost, it's one of the few things I'm like super stubborn about and just don't even want to practice.
And turns out that there was nothing on at least the right side, but technically we do have two more checks in logic here in pod with that bridge as well as the drop down in the front. So what we are seeing is completely from GFE is in logic right now.
Looks like Tso's immediately going to turn in the mushroom. I don't know how much I agree with this, given that you don't have the flippers. Like, if you're not going immediately back to check it, I don't know that I would rush to turn this in.
Yeah, this could be immediate. I mean, if we get flippers, no, we get them. Oh wow! So we have
GFE is super happy now.
Yeah, we have Dark World access minus a pearl now, but we also have a lot of access to the top of Death Mountain and the rest of our East Death Mountain checks.
GFE also doing a splash delete, a bit more successful than Tso was.
Yeah, really getting those arrow shots perfectly into the dock to get those in and have the timing.
So if I was Tso, the moment I find this mirror in pod, I save and quit and go get those boots. I don't bother finishing out this path. I immediately go get those boots.
Yeah, I am a bit surprised with how much GFE is going for that check.
That might actually be a bit of insurance on his part because, you know, assuming that his opponent went to and saw Spike Cave and knew, like, wait a minute, I don't have a glove and I can't do this. The fake flipper play in Crosskeys to me is really attractive, as opposed to like item rando where it's kind of take it or leave it.
Now GFE is heading for the top of Dark Death Mountain here.
I like this idea because this is going to give him 2 entrances he hasn't checked yet, and scouting the floating island. Missed what was on floating islands.
GFE having to think a little bit here, making the decision whether or not to just go straight for the boots or check these drop down first.
You might as well check the drop down because you kind of, I mean, I guess it's kind of, it doesn't really matter. Sick kid, but we don't have a bottle yet. But you kind of have to climb the tower, to climb the mountain anyway. So, and at this point, you can just clean Hera up when you get your boots. I don't know, it might have been faster just to walk over to Hera and then backtrack. I'm not sure that this is faster.
The thing is that GFE does know that, you know, gonna find the old, or get the boots here off the off-spec rock, and then go into Hera for Old Man, so I don't know which is quicker, but
no,
this could work out better.
Yeah, with Old Man, yeah, you absolutely make this play. I completely forgot about that. That's a good call. This is a really heads-up round, actually.
And I don't think I've seen this play ever in House of Darkness. A bomb jump over to the chest.
Yeah, that's a new one for me.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? Tso just not able to get this splash delete.
And down to his last 2 bombs, so make or break gets it this time.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and I gotta be honest, this is actually a really nice play from GFE. Bringing the old man back into Dark World, and going through the Dark World to get to the turn-in, knowing he is going to want to check these 2 Dark World entrances.
I'm surprised that Tso is not immediately going to get the boots.
Yeah, the boots are really valuable here. You know, one of the conversations recently with all the stuff about pseudo boots, I'm really surprised that's not, you know, most runners will tell you this is what they want, is boots.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you're gonna do this anyway. Also, there are entrances up there, and Tso has a lot more of the mountain available to them. So the mountain is actually super valuable. Oh no, our tracker is saying that he actually did not see the top of Spectacle Rock.
Oh no, that's really rough then.
Oh man, you're gonna be kicking yourself after that one.
Yeah, this is the one drawback of how aggressive Tso's been at this point.
GFE is having a very festive pokey there.
And GFE showing you one of the most dangerous parts of doing bunny walking in this mode. If you go into a Dark World dungeon, do a bunny revival, and then get hit by a bunny beam, you don't actually turn back into or gain back your bunny revival. So yeah, it's really important to not get hit by those bunny beams.
That's actually a new one for me. I don't know that I knew that.
Yeah, definitely one of the rarer things, especially just because how many dungeons do you actually run into a bunny beam that touches you? And it's really, I think, the 2 most like GT is the common one for a lot of people.
If I were him, I would use that Quake Medallion. And although you probably won't need it, after a Quake Medallion, I think Fire Rod to the Pokey, and then you get your full magic here. I would get that small key.
Yeah, I'm surprised GFE skipped out on that.
Okay, it looks like Tso is going back to Death Mountain. So hopefully they see the boots. And luckily they at this point they've lost the Eastern Palace walk, and that's negligible, so he should still be alright. Making a desert in chain chomps.
And if I'm not mistaken, that big key is in logic. Wait, sorry, it isn't. We bunny revived, so it's not yet.
Yeah, we do have access to the front of Turtle Rock, but we don't have a cane yet.
And there is our TR West entrance at the bomb shop.
Only bad thing about this is I believe GFE kind of orphaned the Spike Cave entrance on Dark Death Mountain.
Yeah, but it looks like GFE is going to, I was going to say, make a play over to the race game entrance and archery game, but instead we do need to check out the swamp entrance, which we do know is Desert Palace East, but GFE does not know that yet. Honestly, though, this is good
really
for GFE.
Nice
yeah.
Do the death warp and grab your glove.
Yeah, GFE keeping a little closer to the logic right now, although neither runner is. But at the same time, how many runners of Crosskeys do you know that actually adhere too closely to logic?
Crosskeys logic can get very gnarly. Get out the whiteboard and the flowcharts. We might be here a while.
I mean, look at some of the trackers we use as Crosskeys runners, and the one common refrain we always hear is conspiracy boards.
I will say though, Tso really only has the lamp out of logic, I believe. So they're not that far out of logic. If you go into Desert Palace West, I don't remember exactly where this was. I had it marked, but oh, Dark Death Mountain, of course.
Yeah, great checks here for GFE. This is one of those easy to isolate, and this is the only way to get in there. But it's nothing this time.
If I were him, I might mirror on the left side and then check where Spec Rock goes. Because Spec Rock is right below the Spiral Cave entrance.
Right. Yeah, he did not check that earlier.
Ooh, the Spike Cave entrance was the hammer pegs. Luckily, that's not anything important, but that could have just as easily been a moon pearl that GFE just left up there. Completely accessible and in logic as a bunny.
Yeah, bunny walking is always a risky proposition. There's definitely been times you'll find something really, really required. Other times you're just really burning time.
GFE, I believe, is doing what you were suggesting earlier. I think this might actually be the race gameplay, or although he is mirroring, I'm not quite sure what for.
Looks like this is going to be the liftable desert rock. Not forgetting that entrance does exist, and this is going to be a really convenient time for him to check it.
And we have a useless fairy. We'll see if Tso gets caught as well.
Whew! Dancing.
Just barely made it through the door.
We might also get to see a Link's House Bonk Rocks check from GFE here.
Oddly enough, I think I might have... Wow, Tower Hera, that's nice. I don't know. To me, this is one of the downsides of having the mirror. Like, on paper, this route looks really nice. But if you find yourself mirroring too much to do these checks that really you could have just done after spawning at Link's house, you actually make the checks a lot slower, even though they are, on the way, as it were.
Yeah. But we are going to get our first dungeon clear, in a sense. Not all the items, but we will see a boss, and we'll find out a crystal or pendant.
It's like Tso immediately go into these mirror checks. Nothing important, unfortunately. Oh, wow.
That is the
Got the
dam at
dam.
left race game.
Nothing useful in the dam, but this does give us 1 check in swamp, as well as the sunken treasure.
Well, without those flippers, still no checks over in swamp, but definitely a value proposition just to get the item, our flooded item.
I think this might be... What is this from? Where's Tso going? This
Back
is
up the mountain?
Death Mountain?
Uh,
I don't know if they turned in the old man, maybe?
no, we did see an old man turn in, but Tso left a lot of checks, a lot of entrances on the mountain.
Oh, yeah, I don't think they've even touched East Death Mountain yet.
Yeah, so this is going to be an East Death Mountain play. Yeah, GFE striking first blood here. Unfortunately, not having that Tower Hera big key.
Yeah, luckily the Tower Hera is so close that if he finds it and wants to check it, it won't be too much of an investment. That's probably going to be close to the last location, though. Interestingly, though, we'll probably get the Spec Rock connector from Tso if they route like they've been routing up until this point.
I'm honestly still shocked we haven't found GT. Honestly, the equipment and the keys we found so far just screams that GT is going to have something.
The climb.
Yeah. And even if we're not talking climb here, we are looking at... Oh! GFE recalling that Hyrule Castle main entrance put us in the mire area, so that's nice.
Small key to the castle, that's not exactly what you're wanting to see. It's kind of useless. Probably hoping for the swamp small there, honestly.
Might even take a pod small at this point.
I think that's our first rupee farm of the seed. Not that GFE is, or Tso for that matter, is hurting for rupees.
Really nice piece of knowledge there, that you can get into. Hey, that's that other side of Paradox, or sorry, Spec Rock.
Yeah, I imagine he checks checkerboard and then might actually backtrack for that. That's, yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't think you really have anything else to rush to. It's going to be probably actually a weird moment of convergence where both runners from completely different ends of the map are checking Spectacle Rock. GFE finding a dark connector that he's a little bit more interested in. Looks like the back of the mountain. So yeah, he's going to Spectacle Rock now.
Meanwhile, Tso trying to get to the other side of this. Nicely done with that bomb jump.
And here we go, both runners from different ends of the map going through Spec Rock. It's a floating island.
GFE forgetting that there was just bombs there, but gonna pick them up anyway. Nice little refill.
Where's GFE going now?
I think this is Spike Cave for GFE.
Oh, you're right.
Tying up loose ends.
If I'm not mistaken, I think they found bombable hut at the bottom of the mountain, and you actually could use the mirror to get that item.
Yeah, we also have access to the light side of Bumper Cave now with that mirror.
Yeah, GFE's going through Bumper Cave. What connected? Okay, so Tso's the only one that's found the bumper ledge connector, I believe. That was the fortune teller north of Village of Outcasts.
Correct.
Which GFE might find shortly. GFE might also have bunny revival ideas in Mire right now.
I was gonna say I think we're gonna get the the Death Mountain Ascent and Bonk Rocks at least first, and then I'm not sure. We might get Mire, but we don't have a lot for Mire even.
I mean, GFE can get everything but the big chest and the oh, Blindside. This is nice. But you can get everything but the big chest and Vitreous. Which when you're kind of itching for a pearl, I don't know that it's the best call, but it's not a terrible play.
Yeah, definitely for GFE at this point. Pearl away from full Dark World access.
And we have it. So I imagine GFE's probably going to walk on over to Mire.
Yeah, Mire's definitely a very appealing play. Luckily, Tso heading straight for Desert Palace, so going to get that glove moment in just a couple of moments.
Just a storyteller behind the Bonk Rocks. He actually could do a Skullwood style. I might do the Skullwood style first, and then do a Mire Skullwoods loop.
Now, does this also cause GFE to put off finding his way to the top of Bumper Cave? There we go.
Here's CT.
We've been waiting for it.
I can't imagine, because there's no way GFE makes it to Village of Outcasts without finding that connector. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. I'm not worried about GFE from finding top of Bumper Cave.
We are getting a lot of... We've gotten 2 small keys in GT so far.
I'm telling you, GFE is not afraid to climb. I don't know if he will this early, but...
Yeah, and this is at least a convenient location to get back to. Hey, our Thieves Town Small and the shovel.
And the cane. So we can now do, like, pretty much all of GT, right?
With 2 small keys and the big key and the Cane of Samari and Fire Rod and all this, yeah. Smart planning can lead you to a full clear of GT right now.
Wouldn't even be a terrible call, because you get... I mean, I say that. Climbing the tower is a serious investment. But it's probably like one of the best payoffs you can get from a GT climb, because you get the items at the top of GT, you get the magic bat, and you get the mirror location for 3 entrances, and the pyramid item as well. So it's not an awful call. It's dubious. I wouldn't say it's a bad call or a good call. But at this point, I think I would at least want to build out my map a little bit more before running up GT.
Now, just watching the runners, I do want to make mention, I took a glance at GFE's tracker, and under the locations for GT, he just clicked out every chest in GT. So, you were saying it. You're saying he's the kind of guy who will make a GT climb. That just screams GFE is thinking, I'm clearing all GT right now.
I'm telling you, like, to have the ability to do all of this an hour in, it does not surprise me. You would have to find something like really nice. I think so far the only item of note he's found is the Skullwood's Big Key, and that's not really enough to make you want to go anywhere else.
Cadence Mire is nice. Maybe if we pull if we get Mire Big, do you leave? I think Mire Big could pull me away, knowing that I got a fully clearable Mire.
In GFE situation, yes. In Tso's situation, maybe not. But I don't know, because one question I'd be asking myself if I were GFE, if I'm not climbing GT, what am I hoping to do? We found Mini Moldorm Cave, we found Paradox Cave, we found Blind's Hut, so there aren't really, I think Turtle Rock, the back of Turtle Rock is like the only item-heavy location we have left. So if you're not climbing GT, what are you hoping to do? And I don't know that GFE has a really good answer for that.
Yeah, and we got a third GT key in GT. Oh my gosh. The seed is really screaming it now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of funny at this point.
Because honestly, did we get anything off of all of these pieces yet?
I don't think so. Tso canceled their spin speed. Oh no, ran out of magic. Never mind. Tso making the Spike Cave play. This is kind of an interesting play. I guess they're checking the liftable rock, but I don't think they've found anything useful yet. Oh, just the connector. Yeah, I don't know. Well, Tso hasn't found Pearl yet, so I guess this makes a little bit more sense.
Hey, there's that Swamp Small, and also Ice Palace over at our the chess game in Village of Outcasts.
Oh, here we go. GFE's climbing. I knew it. Like, even though I said he was going to do this, I don't know why. I was like, maybe he won't. The Swamp Small, to me, that might actually be enough, knowing that it's a 5/6 crystal too. Like, I don't know, Swamp is very tempting, but at the same time, I feel like if you're going to do like a time-heavy investment like this, it's better to do it early than late. Because it's easier to talk yourself out of this, like when you're like one item from go mode, right? But right now, it's like you need a ton of stuff, and only one of the stuff has to be at the top of GT for it to be worth the entire climb.
Now, Tso is about to get that Pearl out of Blind's Hut in our Death Mountain Ascent Cave. As GFE is going to go for Safety Room.
I would have also gotten the magic.
Yeah, I'm not sure why we skipped that.
I'm thinking that, like, GFE absolutely needs it. He can't do the torch room.
Yeah, that's going to be a big problem. Because there's only, there's a small magic, but I don't think there's enough small magics to actually light all the torches.
Oh, someone's saying he got a green bottle.
Oh, right.
Still, though, I have to feel like that's a mistake. I don't think you're in the safety room and you say, oh, I got a green bottle, I'm not going to pick up the full magic. GFE kind of realizing that he goofed at this point.
Yeah, you're starting to see the magic pickups. He does know where they are, which, you know, really heads up, but probably not a good feeling to have to pick them up.
Trying to do bow strats in this room is the worst. This room, like bow land mode's already hard, but in this room, it lags like crazy. You got the fireballs. It's bad.
Yeah, it has blue mail, but really not a huge benefit with those shooters.
He's getting dangerously low on health for this room. I mean, the pebbles and the fireball all deal 1 heart of damage. You got to be a little careful here. I guess the pebbles only deal a half heart damage.
Yeah, I think Landmo is the one that actually does the heart of damage.
I think GFE's trying to do the math to make sure he can do Samaria.
And yeah, really, really smart there to just kind of back up a little bit, see if you can get a little bit of space to run. And gonna have just enough magic to get through this.
Yeah, not burning the green potion it's slow, but it probably also feels good to have that. Unfortunately, he has not dove Mire yet, so he does not have that half magic. Also, to answer chat, or just to comment on what they're talking about, GT cannot be logical access to East Dark World because you can only do it once. Oh, apparently it's repeatable, but I don't know, it's just not logic, I guess. I was told you can only kill Agate once.
Now, something interesting about that, I did hear that actually beating Aga 1 can be logical to strip the electric bat.
Yes, there was actually a rando race a long time ago where a bunch of people forfeited because they didn't know it. Most people sequence broke it by a right side GT bomb jump, but I think Slim Kirby was one of the people who actually played the seed out logically and figured it out eventually. I think it took him like 4 hours to do it though.
Now, the one prize that I did notice at the top of GT was our silver arrows out of the pre-Moldorm chest.
Was there anything else like really useful though at the top of GT?
I didn't notice anything really important on this one. I mean, we are going to get Magic Bat here, so that's a nice little check.
Yeah, this is kind of a weird feeling. Like, assuming Magic Bat is also garbage, on one hand you want to feel bad about it because it's a huge time sink, but on the other hand, like you have to be pretty sure your opponent has done this. The GT's not a terrible call.
So just a compass at the top on the pyramid ledge. Let's see what we get on the top of Hyrule Castle, though.
Chicken nut.
The question in chat, we can't fight Ganon because he's not actually there. This is entrance randomizer, so not only are all of our items randomized, but also where stuff is. And we have to still get all 7 crystals.
Yes. Ganon will yell at you and say he cannot die if you try to go to him before you have killed the 7 crystal bosses and collected their prize. So you have both Mimic Cave and Chicken Hut on top of the castle, but nothing important in either of them.
And here we go, the last check for the climb of GT. The only real prize here for GFE was the silvers, unless this pays out with the bat, and we get a buff.
Ouch! That hurts. Now watch the last GT key be buried under like some ridiculous chain of logic that's like, oh yeah, of course you wouldn't climb GT because the last key was here, so nothing can logically be there.
Well, everything up through pre-Moldorm, I think, is in logic right now with 3 keys.
Yeah. Also, Tso finding the back of Turtle Rock in what I believe was the graveyard ledge, finding the Meyer Big Key basically right next door. GFE finding the front of Super Bunny and not happy about it. That is a one-way connector, and you don't want to abandon that part of the map.
And yes, Vortex pointing out that technically the third GT key we did get was the 4th one logically based on its position behind Ice Armos. So yeah, we are... The 4th one then should logically be not too difficult to find, I believe.
See, that's the level of Crosskeys logic that I just get lazy. I'm just like, no.
Hey, it's Skull Small.
Turtle Rock is a crystal. I think Thieves is a crystal. Oh, someone's saying Turtle Rock was a pendant. Oh no, that's 2.
And we did get Eastern Palace found on GFE's side. No Eastern Big, so GFE is going to bail for now.
And actually, Tso confirming on their map that Eastern is actually a pendant. Tso can actually clear both Meyer and Skull. Probably going to Skull to refill the resources, get the magic refill and magic refill. I'm sorry, the magic refill and heart refill, and then just go right back to Meyer to clear it.
Yeah, and I have to believe GFE is actually going to come over to the same area and get that Meyer Big, and that'll just send him immediately into Meyer as well.
I don't know, because he did find Super Bunny. And that's not an easy decision to make.
True. You're not wrong, actually, so I'm not sure. It looked like... Oh, thinking about it?
This might actually be a South Shore play.
Yeah. It looks like you're right. This is going to be Dark Shopping Mall.
Yeah, I don't hate this. It's kind of weird to do it out of logic when you have the Super Bunny and, 3 entrances, a hook shot away that you really need to do. But, I don't know, it's not a bad play. I don't know if it's a play I'd make, but it's respectable play.
Yeah, it's 3 entrances. I mean, what entrances are we looking for? We're looking for back a desert. I think that's the only one we haven't seen across the board yet.
We're also, we have quite a few item entrances we haven't found. We haven't found Saha's Hut. He might also find the back of Super Bunny, which would be useful. Hype Cave is still out there. I think Hype Cave is still out there.
I believe you are correct.
We have a couple of I think we haven't found a Gina, or I don't think we found K45, although Tso might have found it, or Graveyard Ledge, or Kingston for that matter, I believe. So there's some value to be had out on the overworld, but if you can, and we have the knowledge of, you know, like, oh, well, when you go to the back of Turtle Rock, you're going to find the Mire Big Key, and it's actually going to be a nice route, but GFE doesn't know that, you know, and routing this in so you can clean up Spike Cave, it makes a lot of sense. It's easy to be critical when you know what lies at the end of the route that he was on up until that point.
Yeah.
Almost for Tso in the Mire Big Chest. That will get him into the Mire entrance.
Mire locks Mire, sure.
This is actually going to be a really nice connector for GFE because this will put him in the bombable hut at Village of Outcasts. So he can actually take this, and he's already done, I mean, he hasn't done Stumpy or Dig Game, but entrance-wise, I think it kind of serves him to go up through the Village of Outcasts and eventually make his way to Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb.
Yeah, and having that shovel, though, I'm very curious if it might lure him the other way.
Although GFE said no. I don't know what he's going back for. I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. He finished everything over there.
I think he might be realizing, like, why did I come back here? Because I think, well, he could be doing a fake flipper into the pod area, maybe?
This is one of the most dangerous fake flippers in the game, I would say, though.
Depends on how you do it. As long as you can make it to land, it's not that bad. You actually... Okay, well, he's going back. Okay. This is... I want to say this is inefficient, but it's really just two ways to get kind of the same result. Oh, he's going back to Super Bunny. Okay. This is,
It's creative.
Yeah, well, if you don't do Super Bunny now, like, you just better hope that, you know where the other end of Super Bunny is, because you haven't found the laser bridge exit, and that could very well be Super Bunny. So it's not a horrible choice to go ahead and do this, and you get a full magic, which GFE needs. So yeah, there are merits to this route, to be sure.
We do get a pod and Mire Small out of that play, so... Now, the one thing that does concern me, just looking at GFE's tracker, while he did pick up the shovel, doesn't have it currently marked down.
He also doesn't have his glove marked, so I imagine that he's just kind of engrossed by his execution right now and probably not paying a whole lot of attention to his tracker. As long as he's got the keys, I think he's happy. He'll remember the items. Tso with Desert North. I was not paying attention to what entrance they walked in.
Yeah, I missed that one as well. Couldn't have been that far from Mire, could it?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And GFE doing that new clip out of the hammer pegs area.
Yeah, well done. And this oddly works out for GFE because this puts him right back in the Village of Outcasts. So I think it's a very natural route back up to the Mire area. I hope he... Okay, it was C-shaped house that was Desert North. I hope he has the wherewithal to do Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb before he does the Mire dip. That said, a Meyer dip without the big key, it's not the most punishing dip. And Desert Palace with a green pendant, that's maybe slightly disappointing.
Although it does mean when we find Sahashwala the first time, we'll be able to get that item. But Tso taking a bit of a lead here, just with the 2 crystals and a pendant clear.
Looks like we're getting that Ice Palace dip, but we don't yet have the Ice Palace big key. I'm curious why you would do this over Swamp.
No flips.
That's a great reason to do Ice Palace over Swamp. That also makes a lot more sense as to why GFE didn't leave GT after finding the Swamp Palace small key. It all makes so much sense now. GFE strongly considering whether or not to stay here or not. I like this play from GFE. GFE still doesn't have the Meyer big key. He knows where Meyer is. For all he knows, Meyer big key could be here. And you never know when you're going to find that Ice Palace big key, so trying to put it off can be kind of a double-edged sword in a sense. I will say I do like Tso's kit a little better for this. Half Magic is going to make Cold Stare a lot more tolerable. GFE, it's a very manageable fight, but he will have to be a little bit more careful.
And Tso finding the Tower of Paris small key in the spike room of Ice Palace. So when he finds Hera, gonna be able to full clear everything out of there.
Yeah, meanwhile, GFE's are gonna be a little upset when he finds that key. But again, it is right next door to Link's house. Depending on how you see it, some people are like, oh, it's right next to Link's house, I can do it anytime. Some people are like, oh, it's right next to Link's house, let me do it now. Unfortunately, without the big key to ice, we do have to do this really long route to the Ice Tea room. One of the, I don't know, underrated checks, I think, is how you'd call it. I feel like a lot of people skip Ice Tea room, and I don't think it's that bad of a check.
It feels worse when you don't have the big key, I'll be honest.
Oh, it does, but I think there are like checks that are maybe equally as bad that don't get near as bad of a rap. I feel like this feels so long because so much of it is backtracking, and that just, your brain is kind of wired to think like, wait a minute, I've already walked this way. This must be slow. But I don't know. I don't think Ice Tea is as bad of a check as many people consider it to be. And the cost of having to come back is just ridiculous.
Yeah, we are going to see the value in Tso's kit here. Besides that, Fire Rod and Half Magic also has Bombos Medallion, so no reason to really worry here.
It doesn't like they're going to bother with the Bombos, so just go straight to the Fire Rod. And absolutely no problem for Tso. I think the Tower of Hera small key was the only valuable thing we got out of here.
Yeah, and you know, we're just gonna have to deal with the lingering thought of when am I gonna need to come back?
Oh, GFE taking advantage of having the sword beams and only using half of his magic meter to bust through the shell of Colts there.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to save that blue potion that he purchased. He actually spent the green and then refilled with blue.
GFE getting some beautiful spins here.
Yeah, nice positions for double spins or hitting multiple puffs at the same time. Really saving time on that fight.
Yeah, that was a really nice Colts there from GFE. Tempered on Stumpy. That's interesting. I wonder when GFE is going to finally make his way there. Because I'm curious to know if he gets that tempered sword before he gets bits. I can't think of what else would send him that direction. Unless he just wants to check it.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one of my favorite places to go. But we are getting the pod area. We haven't seen really any of this.
GFE is finally getting the Skull Woods dip. I don't know that he knows that Paradox Bottom is the back of Skull Woods.
I think you're right. I don't believe we saw that from GFE up to this point.
Ganon on Tso's side, just 50 rupees. This is the pod entrance, one of my least favorite entrances of the game.
Yeah, making the run over here is not always the best time investment, you feel like. But who knows? We did say there were a lot of item caves left over still.
Pod, a useless entrance, so not much there. Really just the 50 rupees in a Genus cave, that's about it. We're kind of running out of entrances here. Don't really have a whole lot left.
Yeah, we could go back for that Meyer entrance. But yeah, really, I think we've seen just about every entrance at this point.
Also, one thing I kind of want to point out, Tso checked Stumpy, but I don't think they mirrored into the shovel spot.
Yeah, that sounds right.
The shovel spot, I wonder when runners are going to check it. GFE is not sure what he wants to do in Paradox Cave right now. Alright, GFE is safe from the Hera basement. Oh wow, the mountain. We have not seen the mountain yet. Oh, the mountain was... okay. I didn't realize this. I thought GFE connected here. I didn't realize that this was his spawn point.
Well, I guess the question is, I'm just taking a look. I have a map up myself, and I'm trying to think, like, I don't think there's any entrances we really haven't seen yet.
We haven't gotten the pyramid.
Or have access to, I guess.
Yeah. TR is also eventually going to be on the table. I think that's about it, GT.
Yeah, we've seen all the dungeons at this point. But our runners are really just retracing each other's steps here. I think the big piece that, the big item we are looking for here is, where are the flippers? I feel like that's going to be the item that really breaks this one open.
We do have this really nice sunken treasure that I don't think either runner has checked yet. Okay, so luckily GFE is safe from more or less all of the checks that he may or may not be aware of. Well, at least the shovel. Shovel, we're kind of not sure if he knows what's going on. Or I'm not sure if he knows that he has the shovel, or remembers at least. But the Tower of Hera, big key and small key, he is safe from that. Just a compass and a small key to ice.
On the plus side,
finally in Turtle back. He's going to get his Mire, big key, and probably very shortly Dab Mire.
Yeah, that's going to feel really good, finding that Mire big before dipping Mire.
Oh, here's King's Tomb. So we had not found that. And King's Tomb has a big key to Thieves.
And we have the small key to Thieves, so we've got a fully clearable Thieves Town now.
So that looked to be the Hype Cave entrance. Again, I'm a little worried about when GFE is going to get to some of these locations because they're, in my opinion, they're kind of isolated for him. I guess you could make a route out of Dig Game, Stumpy Shovel to the Hype Cave entrance, but I don't know. GFE kind of has a few better options at this point. It might be a while before he does that.
Yeah, Mire at a minimum is going to be the first attempt, or the first real option I think we're going to see from him.
Which is kind of interesting. Like, I know that GFE has climbed GT, but I don't think Tso has a commanding lead over him, despite that GT climb.
Yeah, I mean, look at their cold stare fights were roughly even with the advantage of the half magic and Bombos. And realistically, GFE is going to have not necessarily a hugely better fight against Vitreous, but those silvers will make it pretty fast.
Yeah, Tso is a mire up on GFE. I did forget about that. But I imagine that Tso is going to be clearing a lot of this. Like by the time Tso makes their way up to the Zora area, Catfish, and all of that, then to Super Bunny and maybe South Shore, it's going to be about equal. I will say Tso does have quite a few more options on the table, though. That Thieves Town play is going to be really nice for Tso, and it might take GFE a while before he routes his way down there.
Yeah, and we really haven't seen a lot of pod keys either, so I gotta imagine that at this point, Thieves is the play for something. And Tso having the same reaction as GFE, seeing Super Bunny.
So we're getting the mire clear from GFE. GFE is going to get the lamp and half magic. And that's really it. So he's not really going to have any more checks available to him after this.
Maybe feel compelled to check the back of the mountain cave, but I think given how many entrances we've seen, I don't know if we're going to necessarily get that check.
I'm trying to think what connectors we have left. If I remember, GFE checked a dark cave that was the back of the old man. So I think he knows where it is. Tso, I don't remember what the dark room in the Lost Woods was, or if we ever figured out what that was. I don't know if that's the one GFE scouted or not. Just looking at things on Tso's side, they're really only... Oh, Ice Rod. So Ice Rod, TR Big Key, and Flippers. It's really all Tso needs.
And it looks like we are getting the play into Thieves Town from Tso. Crystals are definitely the tempting play here. That mire entrance is probably, raising some eyebrows here, given the item locations that we haven't found. Hype Cave that is just so outstanding at this point. I would not be surprised if somebody goes for mire hoping for hype.
Yeah, either that or Saha's Hut.
Yeah.
Both of them have the green pendant. So GFE really needs to do that South Shore route, like, now. Although I really don't know what else he has. Just a compass in the attic. You're Tso, where do you go after this?
Unfortunately, the dungeons we have left, so he doesn't know where Eastern is. Luckily, I don't think that's going to be too tempting being flipper locked. But Pod doesn't look great without really many small keys. We've really seen as much as we could of Turtle Rock. Maybe you go to TR front entrance.
He is right next door to GT.
I don't know. I really.
I feel
don't know
like if
you
you're
make that
gonna
kinda
climb
gamble.
I feel like if you were gonna do that, you would have done it when you first went to GT. But I'm trying to think, like, in terms of item density, like what Tso's best play is. Oh, there's a big key to Eastern.
Now, on the plus side, we know that in terms of go mode, the only two things it can really give us are the TR Big or the Ice Rod. So, I mean, knowing where Eastern is that even something you consider until you find flippers?
Probably not. At this stage of the game, no. If you needed maybe 5 or 6 items from Go mode, I might go ahead and dive Eastern, but just 3 items from Go mode and one of them locks the dungeon altogether? Probably not. GFE with a bit of indecision on his end. This is like he's trying to figure out what he wants to do next.
Yeah, it definitely feels like he's done a lot and kind of just not thinking about certain pieces. And yeah, that was our 4th pod small. So back of Palace of Darkness now in Logic.
GFE going to pod. This is interesting. If I were gonna do, well, GFE also doesn't know this is a pendant yet, according to his tracker. If I were GFE, if I was gonna do pod, I might consider routing in Dig Game and Stumpy. Just maybe. And the Hype Cave entrance.
But we are going to get that Meyer entrance from Tso, and it's Hotel Mario. I can't believe we had not found the greatest entrance in all of Entrance Rando.
I think there's a good chance GFE saves this key and kills Helmasaur.
Agreed.
GFE, what do you do, man? Tso also going to back a pod.
And it's an understandable play. That 4th key really does kind of change your thought on the value.
I wonder if we're going to see a difference in how they spin keys.
Well, we have at least a change from Tso as we're getting the... Oh my gosh, there's the Titan Smith.
That opens up the Smith chain?
And there's the book out of the maze. So we've got some interesting 6 key locked items. And the flute.
That doesn't really do anything for us, though. That, like, we got, what, the 2 tablets? And the Smiths?
Yeah, 2 tablets, a Smith, and a purple chest. We got a TR entrance.
GFE is forsaking the mitts to go to Helmasaur.
Oh wait, sorry, we don't have
mitts.
mitts. Or, we don't have TR entrance. We need ether for that.
Yeah, we need ether for that. This might be really bad for GFE if the mitts have anything behind them. And at this point, I think there's a really good chance that mitts are going to have some kind of value.
Well, and you were talking about the spending of keys. Tso using all 4 keys and skipping out on Helma. I think there's a good cause for those mitts to have something, but what if we get flippers here off of Helma?
could happen. I don't know that I would hope on that too much, not knowing where that last
I know.
is. Because
Yeah.
if it's in Eastern, then that can happen. If it's in Swamp, then that can happen.
Yeah,
There's
definitely
a lot
a low
of things
likelihood.
that would break that. But it would be spicy. The good thing, when GFE gets this pendant, he will know his complete map.
But I will say, I think this book is actually another nice piece for GFE in terms of routing in these checks that we're talking about. And it's the bug net off of Helma.
Turtle Rock main, I like it. Tso didn't make this play. Tso's save and quit, right?
Yeah, I don't think we've seen these.
GFE getting bullied by this blueberry. Now, how nuts would it be if Flippers had just been sitting here in the front of TR this whole time?
Nobody wants that. Or at least they don't want that. Yeah, and especially, I think this seed has not been stingy about giving you options. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, that's a bad feeling.
So that's I don't know if that's good or bad for GFE, because I feel like that. I mean, I don't know. If I were GFE, I would really want the Tempered Sword off of Stumpy. He may find a sword in Swamp, because there's always a sword in Swamp. But that's really good for GFE, because that kind of opens the possibilities of where his go mode can be that's not mitts locked.
Yeah, and I think the big help here for GFE is just staying away from some of these mitts lock checks. I don't think we got anything off of the Smith, and this is just time that Tso is sinking into checks right now that might not pay off. And for all we know, our fourth swords here, as well as the rest of our go mode items.
GFE might survive Master Sword, but okay, so now the real burn condition for GFE is if what the Turtle Rock entrance is required. That's the only thing that's hard mitts locked at this point, right?
Yeah. Out of all of our entrances, that is the only one that or the only check that now is really requiring it.
And with Hype Cave and Saha's Hut on the table, that's not a crazy thought.
But, what you're looking for here is, when does Tso go to the front of TR now? Because the mobility that Tso has, I think if you had to start at...
Oh boy, where's Tso going? Oh, I thought he was going GT. Flippers were in the front of Turtle Rock. I saw Tso dashing north through Kakariko, and I got real nervous.
This is going to be... Is this just a check of the Skullwoods big chest? Yeah. Meanwhile, GFE is going to just go and clear swamp first trip, not even skipping anything.
It's the same way I don't think GFE knew that this was back in Skull Woods. I don't know if Tso knows the Moldorm entrance of Spec Rock. I feel like he's done the Turtle Rock Bridge, though. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, we saw some very interesting routing from Tso early in this race when it came to the some of the connectors.
This could also be a Sick Kid check. This is Sick Kid.
And just a bottle off of the Sick Kid. And yeah, given our location knowledge about that Thieves Town Big, I think there's a good chance GFE finds the that Tempered Sword still off of Stumpy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And here we go with Ether Tablet as well. So really exhausting these book checks. But it looks like just staying in logic was the answer here. We're not getting the pod keys for this. So all those checks were out of logic. It turns out that the obvious play was just go into TR.
Ooh, small key to desert on the Ether Tablet.
And that is 2 more items.
I'm still wondering if anybody's checked the sunken treasure.
And GFE getting a sword.
Well, this is a perfect time to get it.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like, it's got to feel really good. Man, Tso, just every check he's making since pod basically is just not paid out.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like, I gotta wonder, are we gonna see GT's climb now from Tso soon? The numbers are gonna start playing it out that maybe it is a GT play, and we just know there's nothing there.
I mean, as early as it was available, you have to assume your opponent's done it at this point. And it looks like that's exactly what we're getting.
Yeah.
Ice Rod on Argus.
So the only thing we don't know where it is the TR Big, and yeah, this is the GT play. So
I feel like GFE just is absolutely in the lead at this point.
Yep.
There still is the TR entrance. That still could come back to bite GFE. That's really the only lose condition I can think of. Tso had all of the opportunity, like, to mathematically, like, just beat GFE because GFE wasn't able to do the big chest in Hera, wasn't able to do the basement in Hera, didn't get the mitts, and Tso was able to route in all of those efficiently, but it just, unfortunately, nothing was behind any of those checks that would burn GFE. Okay, so 20 rupee at the sunken treasure, so we know that now. That's good.
Yeah, and GFE is gonna start knocking out these last few entrances he hadn't gone to.
So now the question is, where's the TR big key? And I want to say it's either 50%, there's a 50-50 chance of being behind the Pyramid Ferry or being behind the Turtle Rock entrance.
I was gonna say my money was gonna be on Eastern at this point. knowing that
Oh,
we have Eastern
yeah.
Big Key coming soon.
You're absolutely right. I completely forgot about that.
And really, that's probably about just as many checks as will be at the pyramid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if that's Hype or Saha, we're getting, you know, 4 or 5 items at Hype. And so there's definitely decent plays to be had here.
GFE doesn't have the Eastern Big. Where was the Eastern Big Key?
That was in Thieves Town, so that will
Okay.
be next on the menu for GFE, I have to assume.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, and here's the flute. Yep, back to Kakariko, so he is making the play for Thieves Town at this point.
Yeah, not even bothering with Stumpy or Dig Game. I like it. Also,
Yeah,
he has to feel slightly behind because that GFE climb was nothing. That might be playing into his game. Of course, you know, we talked about that earlier. Like, as obvious as, you know, quote unquote, as obvious as the play seemed, you can either assume your opponent definitely did it or assume your opponent God routed. And of course, you know, they would never make a play that bad like you did. So, we'll see. I'll have to ask him about that after the game.
Well, I think the simple argument here is, in GFE's mind, you know, it's just TR Big now. That's all he's missing, and how high are the chances that it's just in Thieves Town, which he has to beat anyway?
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if GFE does Eastern before cleaning up Dig Game or Stumpy.
See, I think the fact that there are at least a couple of entrances, and I gotta believe GFE's, you know, ticking off the entrances in his head goes, I know where Eastern is, and I know that's 6 items, but I also know that there are, you know, there are item entrances available, and if I just find those, they might be a better time investment for me.
True. I know that GFE doesn't have an entrance tracker in the sense that, you know, these are the item locations I have. He might just be cognizant of the fact that I haven't seen Hype Cave and I haven't seen Saha's Hut. For sure Saha's Hut, because, I mean, he's got the green pendant and can't turn it in. But I wonder if he's aware that Hype Cave is still out there, though. Do you rush GT or do you rush EP after this, or do you clean up Dig Game and Stumpy? With the flute, I might actually rush EP.
There's that moment for GFE. I gotta probably really excited until he reads the text of Eastern Palace.
Also for GFE, this is a pet play, which is something Tso does not have the ability to do right now, I don't think.
Yeah, and we've actually seen, I think we've seen now 5 of our pod keys. We did get one more out of Swamp Palace, so we're just missing that 6th pod key now to put the pedestal into logic.
Oh, where's Tso going?
Oh, and again, it's that... It's unfortunate that everything is pulling Tso away from that entrance at TR, or that TR entrance at the Lake Hylia Fortune Teller.
Yeah, this is interesting that you're doing a fake flipper play, when surely, like, at this point, flippers have to be the bottleneck. Like, there's nothing else that can be bottlenecking the scene. I just don't know that I would sequence break the one item that well, I don't know. Zora's in logic.
Yeah, and here's that moment for Tso here. GFE does have a lot of entrances to clear up. Has the whole pod area. He never checked these out. So gonna at least go through these. But is
Tso is
gonna go?
backtracking.
Could this be a play to Eastern, or are we gonna? The flute is out though, so this could be a flute as well.
The bad thing about this is that, let's say Tso finds the TR big key, we know that that should be his go mode, but he doesn't. So if like the first chest in here has a TR big key, that's going to be excellent for GFE, but not so. Oh, he's fluting.
Thought about it, but back to Kakariko Village. Are we getting a ped check? No. Nope, something else. Maybe
this
we
dark
are?
connector up here.
Oh, yeah.
The dark connector north of Lost Woods, which at this point I don't think can connect to anything. We haven't seen the Lost. We still haven't seen the Turok Bridge or the Turok Laser Bridge exit.
Well, we did see the light side of it, so.
Yeah, I don't know what he thinks this could be connecting to.
Yeah, especially just because we've seen all the exits really to. Well, there's that. There's that laser bridge entrance you mentioned.
Oh, staring at the pause menu. That's never a good thing.
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of a what did I forget moment here. And it's you know, it really hurts when you know that it is that front of TR.
Curious as to what GFE's going for here.
I'd guess Pod Temple right there. Because I don't think he went there, and maybe takes this over to that Stumpy race game. Well, at least Stumpy now at this point, I guess.
No, he did the temple. Oh, he hasn't done this yet. Okay.
Okay.
I believe this is... Oh, I got it marked. Where does this go? Oh, this goes to Bonk Rocks and Dark World.
And actually, that's really convenient.
Game, yeah. That's perfect. I'm thinking Tso. Oh, here's the shovel check from GFE. He remembered.
Yeah, I mean, we're down to some pretty, I don't want to say we're bad, but these checks are getting ugly, and I think we know there's got to be something in Eastern Palace, and I feel like the big one could be our 6th pod small and Ether Medallion.
Tso has to have either mistracked or just completely forgotten about the front of Turok.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You know, you find that entrance, and even when people sometimes find Laser Bridge, they kind of forget, oh yeah, you can go backwards from Laser Bridge and get to the Crystal Roller Room. It's definitely one of those... It's a dungeon that you don't think about as tightly as some of the others just because of the multiple entrances.
GFE and Hyrule Castle, where could he be connecting to? Oh, he hasn't done the Meyer entrance yet.
Here we go. We are getting that front of TR. So, gonna have flippers momentarily. Definitely probably feels, you know, it's gonna feel behind on that one.
Oh yeah, he's rage slashes.
Yep.
So GFE can either go do Eastern or check the Big Bomb. And this was like a big bomb play.
Yeah, our big bomb was on Death Mountain, so... Oh, and we hadn't seen this check return for a GFE, so tying up some loose ends.
GFE got his red-green melt.
We're also getting Sick Kid. So this is a lot of loose ends that GFE knew about. Pretty convenient. And yeah, I think you're right. This will end at the Pyramid Fairy entrance, because Big Bomb is right here.
Yeah, and as much as I would want to go to Eastern Palace in this situation, I do think GFE has had a very efficient route cleaning up all of this.
Yeah, just trying to get away from, you know, some of the checks right now. So I like the cohesion to these. Maybe not the density, just because there's a lot of one-offs, and we know Eastern's at least 6 at this point. But I think, you know, leading this into the Big Bomb tells us that, you know, he knows there's a lot here. Whichever one of the item entrances is at Pyramid is massive at this point.
Yeah, there is the GT entrance, though, so that could house Hype Cave or Saha's Hut.
Yeah, and TR is the same story, so one of them is definitely... There's a good chance one of those two is locked behind all 7 crystals.
Saha's Hut. Green Pendant was useless.
And Sahashrala completely nothing. Wow.
So GFE better hope it's in Eastern. Ironically, though, it's probably going to feel really bad if he does find it in Eastern, because he's like, oh, I should have just come here instead of doing all that other nonsense.
Our Titan's bits are in Palace of Darkness, up in the vanilla big key chest. GFE had entered with only 3 small keys and prioritized the Helma kill, given he did not have the...
GFE's actually going back into pod? This is bad, because he's going to find Mitts, and he's going to do all the things that Tso just did.
I don't know.
You don't make a play like this and find Mitts and then ignore him. Like, if you make a play like this, whatever you find here, you have to commit to.
I don't know. At this point, though, do you prioritize a Mitt check? Like, I feel like this is, in GFE's mind, this is a quick check over Eastern. Eastern's a time investment. But once you do this, is it quicker to do Purple Chest and Smith than it is to go and do Eastern?
It's not, but I think you kind of have that commitment of, like, I'm already doing all of this stuff instead of Eastern. So you have it in your mind that you're already gambling that it's not in Eastern. So I don't know. I would be, as much as I want him to, I would be a little surprised if GFE goes to Eastern after this. If we're talking about item density alone, then Eastern made sense way before now.
Yeah, I think the only thing that tells me, like, I don't disagree with GFE's play is just the fact that, like, he had a lot of entrances left with those checks he made. So there was always the chance that an entrance was going to help him here. But now he's really fully explored this map.
Yeah, see, here's a Smith play. If I were GFE, if it were me playing, I probably would have gone to Eastern right after Thieves. Because from GFE's perspective, like, if he didn't have, like, you're right that he did have a lot of entrances that were still open, but at the same time, you need an item for go mode. Like, go where the items are. Even if the entrances have items, some of the entrances have items, you don't know where those entrances are, right?
Yeah.
So go where, 6 items back to back to back to back to back, sign me up.
Yeah, we are just to everybody joining us here as we're getting close to 2 hours and 15 minutes. We're just looking for TR big. We got everything else.
Man, I don't know what else Tso has to do after this. I don't know if they rush Eastern or if they chase down the Big Bomb, knowing that it could have Hype Cave or Saha's hut. But this is getting closer and closer.
Yeah, and GFE's going to finish up this purple chest, and does that mean for him to go right after Eastern?
I don't know what else he has left, honestly.
This looks like...
I think this is 100% less. Well, he could go back to Hera. That's it. I think that's all GFE has left. Oh, and the mushroom pickup. Or
he checked it. Yeah, he had checked that earlier. So, yep, here comes Eastern. And Tso taking down Argus, getting that ice rod. So, also entering the TR. True TR big key hunt. It's like true ice rod hunt, just a little bit better, maybe?
I mean, you certainly have fewer choices at this point.
Yeah. And yeah, we finally are pretty much lined up to the same place, and... Oh, no.
Oh, my gosh.
That is 2 big keys now that GFE's picked up that were not the one he wanted.
GFE is not one to use swears, but if he did, I imagine this would be one of those times.
Yeah, GFE well known for being a very calm individual and controlling of his language, so... But yeah, that's gotta be a feels bad moment. And yeah, there's the big bomb check now.
Yeah, if I were GFE, I would assume Hera does not exist at this point. Just go straight for like anything you find right now. You just assume that your progression is behind whatever you find.
At least at this point, GFE knows the next big key he finds is the one. Small victories.
I'm just waiting for that pod small to show up on Armos.
Pod small on Armos, Ether, and the vanilla big key chest.
Oh no, I just want pedestal to be the answer at this point. Although you are right, I'm surprised we didn't get a... Oh, we did get an ether tablet check, I don't think, for GFE. Maybe we did. I know he checked Bombos. I don't know if he checked ether.
There it is.
There we go. That's go mode for GFE.
So this time, again, Eastern Palace having, at least something required, as GFE is heading for TR.
This will put him in the Dark World Lumberjack, and he'll probably go over to Graveyard Ledge.
Yeah. This is the interesting part when you get to this in Crosskeys is, how do I finish a seed? What's the efficient route to get to that last thing I need? Or I'm in go mode and I have 3 dungeons to clear. What's the right order? And inevitably, I think TR comes to be one of them very frequently. And there are many cases where you can actually use the fact that beating Trinex spits you out of the front of TR to kind of route in the ending better.
Yeah, ironically, it's one of my favorite parts of Crosskeys, but it's also the part that I'm the worst at.
Yeah, I recently had one where that was my last crystal, and it spat me out like right next to where Ganon was. I was like, yeah, that was completely planned. Lying through my teeth the whole way.
Can't count it.
Now, Tso not far behind. Definitely going to hit go mode. Or I think going to hit go mode before this race is, before GFE finishes up. But it's going to be close on that. So now we just have to get back up to buy potion shop. So
We just got our final pod small on Trinex.
that's great.
So now our mitts are in logic.
Once again, mitts. The item that has very questionable value in Crosskeys. There are definitely times runners will find mitts and it will be required, but it almost feels like more often it just leads you astray.
And there's go mode for Tso.
Yeah, I'm sure both runners are just watching the race time like a hawk, going, "When's the finish?" Like, you know, both of them have. Whew.
GFE might feel that way, but I feel like Tso might be a little bit more expecting it because of the front of pod just doing what it did. Looks like Tso is taking the same route to Turtle Rock.
Yeah, real heads up play as GFE does take down Ganon and just has to cross the bridge, and this race is over.
Yeah, get your GGs in chat.
And there we go. GFE finishes in first place with a race time.gg time of 2:21:44 to put him now at 4-1.
Yeah, that mitts play was very interesting in GT because I was convinced that mitts being required was going to be a lose condition for him. And we are joined by GFE. GG's, man.
Yo, thanks for GG's.
So now that you're on the other end of it, how are you feeling through the seed? Did you feel like you were ahead at any point? The ending couldn't have felt great.
No, the ending felt awful, and the most insulting part was when Trinex dropped the 6 pod key. Because I just kept following entrances because I knew Hype Cave was still out there, which must be either in TR entrance or GT entrance. But yeah, that's why I wasn't going to Eastern sooner. As far as the early game, I was scared of Pod the entire time because I went there before I had Bow. And so when I went back to Pod and Mirror was not Bow lock side, it was at least in the basement, and as far as I knew there were no pod keys available, then I felt a little bit better. But I felt okay through most of the seed. My routing felt like a gigantic mess in this, like nothing flowed nicely. But I don't know. When I went into Eastern, fake flippering, I was like, this is out of logic. I don't have the big key. This is a stupid play. But ends up that would have been about, I don't know, 10-15 minute time save.
Yeah, oddly enough, you double dipped Pod before Tso dove it once.
Oh, really?
So you had the mirror before they did.
And then subsequently the boots as well. You made a quick play up to there, having scouted them. Tso had kind of darted around the mountain a bit, and we think he hadn't checked that portion yet.
Yeah, I think he got, so you got to the Death Mountain. You got to it by one, I think Paradox connector maybe.
Yeah, I got to it by Paradox.
Yeah, Tso got through it through Hyrule Castle East. So
Yeah,
I think they jumped the ledge, found Bumper Cave, and then immediately took Bumper Cave.
Okay.
Looks like we are getting a finish from Tso here as well. Just took down Ganon. We'll be crossing the bridge shortly.
And there we go. Tso finishing in second with a 2:24.59. GG's.
Yeah, it looks like Tso will not be joining us for the interview. So I don't know, the story of the beginning of the seed, you were a little bit more conservative with your connectors than Tso was. Tso took a lot of their connectors super early. And then you when you did decide to do connectors, you picked different ones. So for example, Tso didn't know that the Moldorm entrance of GT led to East Death Mountain. You didn't know that the bottom of Paradox led to the Back of Skull Woods. So y'all kind of had like opposing knowledge. Tso opted not to do the GT climb early. They ended up doing it. Tso kind of forgot about the front of Turtle Rock and was actually doing a bit of backtracking before they finally remembered that and got their flippers. So around that time, Tso had already done Thieves Town, cleared more or less everything you had except for the front of Turtle Rock and the GT climb, and they did the GT climb. So doing that as early as you did it and only getting silvers out of it, how did you feel about that after you did it? Did you feel like your opponent might have done it? Were you worried about it?
I mean, I probably wouldn't have felt as bad about it if the climb hadn't been a gigantic mess also. Like, I went into the safety room to get magic, and then I left the safety room without magic and got 2 rooms into the gauntlet and was like, where is all my magic? And I also forgot that I'd picked up a green potion, so I was like scouring for magic so I could do torches with Fire Rod. And then since I didn't know I had the green potion, wasn't using Fire Rod on Landmo, and trying to do NMG strats with that stupid shooter is just a mess. So that was pretty terrifying. The climb felt bad. Getting silvers felt okay, but I mean, it's not the payoff you're looking for. But at least it was good to route to top of Hyrule Castle and Pyramid area. That's the one bonus out of it.
Now, I do have to point this one out, by the way. We did get a question in chat.
Don't do it.
Light Cave?
Don't do it.
I'm sorry, GFE. You know I had to.
Yeah, I will tell you this. I realized it before I pushed the button to pick up the rock. Like, when I got to the rock, I realized it. The most insulting part was seeing those boots, doing that, immediately after doing that, basically going to see the glove on Desert Torch and being like, thanks game, now I know where boots are, and I know where my glove is, and I can't get either. My mirror's going to be somewhere stupid that I should have by now. And sure enough, that's what it was. Yeah, I don't know, just this seed did not, the way the connectors lined up, I mean, some were convenient, but things didn't flow well in the seed. I kept feeling like I was backtracking over areas, and it just didn't feel clean. And like I said, when I got TR Big Key from Go Mode, I was prioritizing entrances because I hadn't done Pod Area. I had the Mire entrance open. I knew I could do Pyramid Fairy when I went back for Sick Kid and the other item I left on Dark Death Mountain. Because, you know, Hype Cave's there, that's 5 items. That's a lot faster than doing Eastern. Maybe we'll just... And I knew Saha was out there too, so that was another 4 item check I knew was there. Which at least I found that one.
Yeah, your route actually looked more or less clean. I guess probably the most frustrating time watching your route was about the time you hit Super Bunny Cave. Because at this point, Tso had found the back of Turtle Rock, had found the Mire Big Key, had cleared Mire, and then you found Super Bunny, and of course you found the front, not the back.
Yeah, I hated that.
And then you had to do the hype, the catfish, the Zora, the South Shore, and both of us were just kind of trying to wheel you over the creek to go get that Mire big key and clear out Mire. And
yeah, that felt bad. I saw that. My plan was to do Catfish, go ahead and do Zora stuff, do Dark Shopping Mall, and then go back through the portal and hookshot over to do Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb. But then, of course, Super Bunny's there, which I hate Super Bunny. When you find the front, it's just like, why? It's like finding Spiral Cave when you're in the middle of a route, and it feels awful. But I mean, I still got back to that eventually. The one thing that I enjoyed about this seed, this is the first race that I've ever actually gotten to do the I don't know what to call it, the hammer peg clip.
Ah, yes.
Oh yeah, that was very well done.
That was convenient. I got to use that a couple times. So otherwise, that old man start would have just been awful in this seed.
Yeah, it was a very interesting watch. You both had your early game mishaps. You of course did Spike Cave without a glove. Tso actually took a death to Ball and Chain. So they had to go back for their cape. After that, I think you had a lead, like a slight lead for the most of the early game. Then you dove GT, and that put you behind. For the majority of the race, they basically Tso was a mire ahead of you for the longest.
Yeah.
And then you both ended up doing the back of pod, and you went to next door to the front of Turtle Rock, and Tso got mitts and left to go do mitt things. So we were actually convinced that if mitts were required, you were probably going to lose.
Did he do helmet at that point?
No, they burned. Tso burned all of his keys checking items.
Okay. Did he know?
Whereas you did. He did. Yeah.
Okay. That I didn't.
So we were joking about how funny like flips on Helma would be, but how odd that would be not having all the pod smalls. But then you went next door and found flippers, and that ended up being used. Nothing. The mitts weren't required for anything. The big thing we were wondering about was if Ether would show up, and then maybe Hype Cave and the Turtle Rock entrance, and that being what gets you. Because you skipped a lot of stuff relative to Tso's route in terms of like Tso got to go to Tower Herald with all the keys. Tso had checked Castle Tower way before you, and you ended up cleaning up a lot of the stuff that they were able to do just kind of on the way. But yeah, it was a very interesting watch. Just kind of see the differences between how Tso went about things and how you went about things. But the moment Tso forgot about the front of Turtle Rock, at that point there was just no catching up.
Yeah, I mean, when I went back to pod the last time, just for those 2 one-off checks, that felt kind of bad. I went in there and then I was like, I should really be in Eastern, I shouldn't be doing this. And then I found mitts, and that led me on to mitts checks. I am glad at least I held off on going back for Hera, Big Chest, and Basement. And I was also nervous about Ether Tablet, because that was another thing. Because if I'd checked those 3, this would have been a really, really close finish. I mean, it was pretty close as is. So if I'd done Hera Basement plus those other couple checks, this would have been a lot closer.
Yeah. I have been talking a lot. Jesse, do you have anything you'd like to ask?
I mean, I guess more of a general question at this point. You know, how are you feeling now that you're through your fifth round of Swiss at 4-1? You know, how do you feel at this point, roughly just past halfway now in the Swiss?
I mean, avoiding that second loss for another week feels good. It's going to be really tough to potentially eke out one of those top 16 spots. I don't honestly expect to, but I mean, still only having 1 loss at this point is at least comfy. I know I can take another and still not be totally out of it. And as many good runners as there are going to be in the 0 and 1 loss categories, I mean, and even in the 2 and 3 loss categories for that matter, there's a lot of good runners. So it's going to be tough either way.
Yeah. Definitely losing a lot of runners.
There is one person that I may want to get matched up against eventually. I don't know who that would be.
Who in the world could that be?
No idea. No idea. But anyway. Thank you guys for the commentary. Really appreciate it. You know, I love trolling both of you in chat and train Ghost Sphere Affinity once the league comes up, but really look forward to listening back to this and hearing what awful things you have to say about me when I go into Spike Cave. And
a lot of oh no's.
Yeah, so I mean, at least it was basically the end of my route. But also thanks to the trackers, appreciate that. And I don't know if any of them are kind of lurking in this chat, but I think there was also a Brazilian restream for this. That's where Tso went to interview there. So thanks to all them. Thanks to everybody who puts into this. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, GG's GFE. Good showing, man.
Thank you.
Alright, and with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Thank you, GFE and Tso, for the awesome race. It was great fun to watch. Thank you again to P-Train and Jesse for the awesome commentary. And thank you to our trackers, Lady Laura Linda and Samimus. Did a fantastic job. Coming up on ZSR tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, we have the Minish Cap Randomizer Variety Tournament Season 3 match between SDG Sean and Myth 197, and at the same time on ZSR2 we have another Link to the Past Randomizer Crosskeys tournament match between Shadow AMP and Humbug. I'm also going to try to get another Crosskeys match onto the schedule if I can get some volunteers for it, but we'll see how that goes, so keep an eye on the schedule and the Discord to get information about that. And with that, we're going to sign off here. Thank you all so much for watching, everybody. Hope you had a fantastic time and have a wonderful rest of your day.